Welcome back to another Bit Here's video. Today we're taking a look at Augments, which is the new mechanic they've added in with the Tier 10 update. This is a way for you to customize and itemize your familiars with gear. There are 4 different types of Augment slots. You have your microprocessing stabilizing chip. The chip will drop in raids, trials and gauntlets, as well as world boss, and it gives a bonus similar to that of a mythic item or a smaller set bonus. Next up is the Neuron Stimulator. This gives a bonus that is similar to pets and will also be acquired in the gem shop, and the Neuron Stimulators can be rerolled similar to the way that enchants work. The third type is the Zirtanium Skeletal Lining. It gives a bonus similar to a meta rune. The skeletal lining will be a reward from events such as trials and gauntlets and PvP. And that brings us to our 4th type of augment, the Radio Flow Regulator Pump. The pump will also be available in events such as PvP and trials and gauntlets. A familiar will be able to equip 3 of these, and this gives a benefit similar to major runes. When players log in for the first time after the Tier 10 update, they will be greeted with a collection of unidentified augments. These rewards are based on character level and can be identified in the same way that enchants work. Destroying the enchants will yield crafting materials that can be used under the crafting tab to craft the lining as well as the pumps. Another new material will be used to reroll the brain in the same way that we reroll enchants, each time increasing the cost. They've added the search function to the familiars tab, and clicking on one of your familiars will bring up the augment interface. Here you have the top 3 unique augment slots. On the left side you have the skeletal lining, which again is similar to a meta rune and acquired in events such as PvP. In the top center you have the Neuron Stimulator. Again, this gives your familiar a benefit similar to a pet proc and can also be obtained in the shop. And it's important to note that you can switch out any of the augments at any time. Next up is the stabilizing chip in the top right. This gives a similar effect to equipping a mythic item and is obtained in raids, world boss, as well as trials and gauntlet. The bottom 3 slots work like major runes, giving similar effects, and they are also awarded from events. Adding augments to your familiars will grant them additional bonuses. Bonuses added from augments will multiply based on how many of that familiar you have in your stable. This stable bonus is capped based on the rarity of the familiar and whether or not it is a fusion. And as a reminder, the difference between a familiar and a fusion is that a familiar is caught out in the world, whereas a fusion is created through a schematic. If you're a newer player and you don't quite understand familiars, definitely take a second to check out my channel. I've got a couple video guides on that topic. Also take note that the legendary and mythic fusions have the same modifier. This meaning that a +5 legendary fusion and a +5 mythic fusion will have the same proc effect, the only difference being based on their total stats. Using this legendary augment as an example, it has a base proc chance of 10% with a 5-point modifier from the stable. That's 5 times 10 equals 50 plus 10 for the base chance, giving you a 60% proc. This stabling effect works on all augments, and the augments affect all familiars of that type, which makes running 2 of the same familiar a strong choice. The innate proc effect on the expedition familiars has been modified. This gives players an option to avoid the gem shop and trying to obtain the stimulator. Bear in mind that expeditions are limited time events, and obtaining those familiars can be difficult. Also known that the proc effect is less than a +5 stabled familiar, and this proccing effect is not increased similarly with stables other than the increase in total stats. Due to having a baseline proccing effect, these familiars are introduced with a weaker bonus than other legendaries. In comparison, Goog has 22.5% in power chance, while Wacom has 30%. Now, it is possible that all these numbers are subject to change, and this is only the first week of the release. And if any of these values are modified in the future, I'll make sure to make an update. As a reminder, the value of the proc itself is based off the attack stat of the familiar, so this will be a much weaker bonus for familiars that have a lower attack. So that'll do it for this video. Leave a comment below, let me know how you feel about the Tier 10 changes and the new augment system. If any of this does happen to change, I'll be sure to make a follow-up video. Next up, I'll be working on the raid guide, so make sure that you're subscribed, and I will see you in the next video.